lollipops on your leg to make sure that they... Hubby, I'm hungry.
We got Blueface first. He's like 6'4", so I'm kind of confident. He's kind of crazy too, I think. He's athletic. I'm not mad at it. Hard to with my guy Jack Harlow. Which rapper would win in a fight? Hand-to-hand combat during the...
Not too long ago, that was my day-to-day life. I'd wake up, grab my phone, check if the host texted. They never did. Then I'd go downstairs, feed myself some consumed cereal that probably has more grams of sugar than a bowl of ice cream. Then I'd go to school waiting to come home and, fap, scroll on social media. The things we enjoy doing. Also around the same time when this was my day-to-day life, I dated a girl, for a few weeks, and after we broke up, I was in a very depressive state. And that doesn't show how much I loved this girl and how much the teenage heart can really love, but it more shows how terrible the mental health is for the average person my age. There's been a 40% influx of people my age, so like Generation Z, feeling suicidal and depressed. And that's just the reported statistic of some Google form they probably sent out at a bunch of high schools. I assume the real number's a lot higher, hitting more 60%, but that's just a little abreian theory. Anyhow, I find it ironic because Generation Z claims to be the generation that is so focused on mental health, right? Like it's like mental health awareness, this and that. You see these corporate drawings or whatever. That has nothing to do with what I said. But Gen Z is so focused on mental health, yet we're the same generation that has 8 hours of screen time every day. We're the same generation that are all prawn addicts. And frankly, we're the same generation that do no habits to actually prioritize our mental health. So that brings me into my next question. Why is our mental health so shit? Before I talk about my own experiences, I'm going to show you this list, which is a list of why people struggle with depression, anxiety, and, just mental health issues. Why has our mental health problems increased? Pressure from social media, lack of boundaries on media, societal pressures to achieve more, drugs, instant gratification, lack of community. These are literally word-for-word things that are talked about in the self-improvement space and the mental health prioritization space. If people will get mad when somebody says something like, social media is bad for you, or constantly instant gratifying with Overwatch Rule 34, it's not so good for your brain. It's probably causing some of that depression and anxiety you constantly post on your Instagram story. And in my experience, I didn't go through everything on this list. I more went through constant instant gratification. I had a really good group of friends at the time. I had a good social life. My grades weren't terrible or something. But still, from all the instant gratification I did, literally any free time I got, TikTok or Instagram. Outside of school, Rust, video games. That was my main addiction, video games. I played damn near 6 hours on a school night, which is insane. But all that instant gratification, it really fuzzed my brain up, leaving me in a pretty vulnerable state. I had no shield over my brain. I had no walls built. But the scary thing is, some people do experience everything on that list. And I can't even imagine what state of mind they're in. In hindsight, this list makes complete sense. Of course, constantly instant gratifying is going to fuzz you up. Make it so your dopamine receptors can't experience joy anymore. Of course, having no social life is not good for you. Of course, constantly seeing people live better than you on social media is going to make you insecure, kind of make you hate yourself. This list is entirely justifiable. It makes complete sense There's even science to back it up, yet we'll still hear things like, social media is normal. Why would I delete it? What are you, some Sigma male? Fucking loser. You quit prawn? You're weird. Jacking it is a very normal part of our human biology, even if we're jacking it 2 times a day to a animated character. And this is the secret war on mental health. When people say things like this, it's not because they're born into this notion. It's not because they're born with their brain thinking that prawn is good. It's because that's what we've been told. It's what has been ingrained in our minds since birth. As humans, what sets us apart from every other animal is, of course, having disposable thumbs, or whatever the hell it's called, and being able to think for ourselves, being able to critically think. And a majority of people do not critically think about mental health or their habits or whatever the hell they're doing. People will spend hours of their day following some YouTube drama, creating their own philosophy about who's right and who's wrong. But when they turn off that computer and they feel depressed, lonely, feel like they're unable to sleep, they never wonder why. So why has this become so normalized? Come, police. So on social media, you may have noticed this. Mental health, specifically negative mental health, has been very idolized. But social media has caused this thing where instead of people relating with mental health in a way where it's like, yeah, I struggled at one point. Here's how I got better. Here's my redemption story to motivate you to get better. It's become more of a thing of, yeah, I'm still really depressed and I hate my life. I'm going to spread that onto you. Brewing negativity. It's going to make some negativity. Pretty common sense, but that's what social media has enabled. It's enabled a little cooker pot where people can pour in their idolization of mental health and depression and anxiety and their quirky humor about the cuts on their wrist. And they can all mix it together and, I guess, feel better about themselves. I suppose it's a thing of community at the end of the day, but it's not a good form of community. It's not a community that is really gonna help you. It's honestly like a synonym for the fat acceptance movement, where people are like, yeah, you're fat and beautiful, so be fat, keep being fat. Same thing. Yeah, you're depressed. You might off yourself any day. Keep being depressed. It's cool. The rampant increase in easy access to instant gratification. This graph shows the increase of how many people watch prawn. And no surprises, it's the highest it's ever been. We have little computers in our pocket at all time, so we could take a shit at Arby's and look at naked Batman characters anytime we want. You want to know what naked Batman characters does to your brain? It floods it with dopamine. TikTok, the most popular social media right now, I think right besides YouTube. A bunch of flashy little videos, maybe a minute long at most. And you want to know what that does? It floods your brain with dopamine. The thing TikTok and prawn have in common is that everyone has them, everyone uses them, and they're very normalized. Think about back in the day with tobacco, right? Obviously now we know tobacco's not it. Bad for your lungs. Gives you lung cancer. You can die. But back then, doctors were like, hey, chief away, this shit is great. In fact, it raises your testosterone and it makes you way healthier. And I really do believe that's the same deal with prawn and social media. And a lot of our modern habits, we don't realize right now the extreme effect they're going to have on us. Right now, we live in a world where the doctors are promoting the tobacco. Most people who follow these habits, which is a large majority, are going to suffer big time later. We see this suffer now or suffer later Sigma male, embrace masculinity edits. We're like, yeah, that's poggers. But it really is true. So instead of being a negative Nelly, I'm going to let out my inner abreian. I'm going to provide some solutions. How can you improve your mental health? But no surprise, delete social media, please. I'm telling you this now. Deleting a majority of social medias, besides the ones that actually help with learning things like YouTube, it's one of the best decisions I've made in my life. The same with quitting prawn, which is another best decision I've ever made. So right now, forget your FOMO and just delete it. And prawn, I don't think you're going to get FOMO from prawn. So fight back against it. Start feeling your Jimmy filling up with blood right before bed. Tell yourself that you have self-control. You don't need to spank your monkey wiener to feel happy. It'll leave you feeling drained more than happy. Next, I've got 2 good habits that you should add to your routine, kind of like brushing your teeth and washing your face. But this time, it's meditating and journaling. Give yourself some time every day to just sit down and journal your thoughts, your feelings, what happened in the day, how you felt about it, how you handled it, what do you want to do in the future, things like that. It doesn't even have to be every day, right? It can be once a week. Just make it consistent, you know what I mean? And the second habit is meditation, which meditation, oh my God, I used to be like, that's some tree hugger shit. If you meditate, you're either Buddha or you're weird. And then I started meditating, and I kid you not, after like a month, I legitimately felt so clear. My mind felt so clear. And I've been slacking on meditation lately, honestly, and I can feel my brain more fogged up every single day. In fact, I'm going to meditate tonight. Just for you, Kyle. I know there's someone named Kyle watching this. The next big thing is give yourself a greater purpose in life. I think this one is talked about a decent amount online, like finding purpose in life. But I think it's kind of overcomplicated sometimes. Find the thing that your brain thinks about the most. And if your brain doesn't think about anything, it's probably because you're distracting it. So stop distracting yourself for a minute and just sit down and think. Stare at a wall, maybe with a piece of paper in front of you. And just think about what you want to do, what you want to work on every single day, what you want to work on often, what you want to progress in. When you give yourself a reason to wake up, you just feel happier. And the obvious ones, working out, having a social life. I'm not going to go in depth, obviously. I think everyone knows those are extremely beneficial. As some of you may have realized or known, I'm kind of falling away from the whole self-improvement only part of this channel. I want to get into social commentary. I think that shit's cool. It's way more interesting. And there's a lot more opportunity for growth in that. But I still am going to keep up all my self-improvement videos. Videos like these when I mention doing these habits. I still have a ton of videos you can go watch and learn whatever habits I'm talking about. I have 50 videos, most of them being, self-improvement based. So if you want to learn how to improve yourself, how to better your mental health, I recommend watching them, or, watching any YouTuber who talks about these things. This secret war on mental health, like I like to call it, is our great purpose, right? Because we always hear we don't have a great purpose. Back in the day, those guys had World War I, World War II, the big wars. This little war on our mental health, that is our world war. So fight it like you would fight World War II. Minus, the flamethrowers and the PPSH. I have coaching available in the description, abreian coaches, 2 to 4 week plan. Probably taking it down soon. I don't know if this is like a limited time offer kind of thing. But yeah, subscribe and like.